up an airplane in San Francisco, and just like Fred was saying, guy's 19, 20 years old. They gave him a plane, probably was, well, $500,000. Here, take it to Italy, you know. So that's what we did. We flew it across down South America, on over the Drink, and then on into Italy.
I've always wondered about fighter pilots without a crew. How did you guys feel about? Was it your crew chief that you sort of loved the best or hated the best?
Funny, I called him Tex all the time, because I think all of white guys are Tex. But the guy's name was Bill Ritter. And it's very funny because I really liked him. And they took very good. But once we would go back to pick up the new plane, the P-51, we were getting new 51. And I went over to India, I said, "What do you want?" He said, "Spam." I said, "That's nuts," because in China we were getting fresh eggs and fresh stuff, but they were, the guys over there, the crews or the ground crews, really wanted Spam. So I loaded the plane up these.
That's what we're getting in a few minutes. We're getting Spam.
And a rug. We had the ammo taken out of the wing, what do you call the guns, you know, the trays, you know, and put all the rugs and just full of Spam and rugs.
I wanted to know what they did with that airplane the other airplane. They just.
Had the Spam in it?
Yeah. No. The dog. What did they? Would they burn it?
God, I mean,
Paulie, were you an aircrew member? No. Oh, you weren't. Oh, well, you can't talk then.
I'll offer a couple of comments.
The mayor of East Hampton. Oh. That'd be good, is all I have to say.
This is a non-political, but just a comment of gratitude and thanks on behalf of the village community to each of you gentlemen who did so much.
You're going to get a medal or something?
We're working on it. We're working on it. But, Casey, I knew you'd come up with something like that. But seriously, I think I share the warmth of the entire village, in fact, all of East Hampton, to thank you some 50 years after the event for all the efforts that you put forth. I'd like to share one moment. I was too young to serve in World War II, thank goodness. But having just come back from Germany, and of course with the reunification, there's a very telling monument, not too visible, but it was placed there by the German government that pays tribute to all the United States airmen who were involved in the European theater. And it's not too far from what was formerly the Gestapo headquarters. So I just wanted to share that with you this morning. Even the German government, who at that time was adversarial, recognized your efforts. God bless each and every one of you.
John Sherry, thank you, Paul. Thank you.
You know, you were talking before about P-47s, and that gentleman over there flew one. There's a perfectly marvelous thing that comes on sometimes on Channel 13 called Diary of a Fighter Pilot, which is fantastically interesting because those P-47s towards the end of the war just became giant killing machines. They put more and more armament on them. They didn't fool around with other fighters. They were after railroad trains and troops and stuff like that. It's an extraordinary series if you ever get a chance to see it.
I think, Matt, when we're going out, we'll talk and go out and roll the credits while we talk and just don't worry about any formal closure. Is that okay? Okay, so yeah, Percy. Okay.
In my class, there were only 16 of us who graduated finally.
Can the camera get in on that real close?
But on that picture, out of the 16 guys, someone mentioned getting killed in training. Well, my roommate was killed. He got his tail cut off joining a formation, Ephraim Earl Totley from Philadelphia. And a young kid who put his age up to even get in. He built model airplanes all his life. We went up on I was on this flight. We were flying cloud formation, and this instructor led us into a thunderstorm. And Lloyd Anthony Nathaniel Carter spun out, and he went in a P-40 out in the woods somewhere, and it looked like a swimming pool where they found the plane. It was about 15 feet into the ground, and under the thunderstorm was just full of water. But 2 guys out of those 16 were lost just in training.
Okay, we're about running out of steam here, so let's just keep talking, and we can all start talking at once, or whatever it is, and sing off we go into the...
Wonder how many here I got $21 a month. When I first
$21 a month. Yeah. Right.
That was $21 a day once a month.
Yeah. They touched on the topic of fear, but I don't recall anybody talking about superstition, which played a big part in.
Oh, yes.
Well, this is not a story about me, but it's a story about a friend of mine who was flying B-24s of a Ploesti, and his name came up on the battle order, and he had the GIs, and he didn't want to take his name off the battle order, so he stuck it out, and the next morning he still had him, and with fear and trepidation, he's a pilot, he was going to take off, and they did. And before he got to 10,000 feet, he had filled up the flak helmets, and a few other things, and now they're up at about 24,000 feet going to target, and there's flak flying, and there's fighters, and there's the whole bit, and he reaches under his seat, grabs the helmet, puts it on his head, and he flies through the hole, gets to the target, drops the bombs, and he said he had no idea what had happened. He was so damn scared until he got well off the target. They called him craphead anglers after that.
Are we off, or are we still running? Who knows? Who's the floor manager? Yeah. Bernie Cooper? Bernie Comfort? Is Bernie Comfort here? No, I don't think so. Yes. Yes, you can suggest anything.
That before we break, that all of us can stand up for a moment of silence for our buddies.
Yes, okay, we're all going to stand up and for a moment of silence, fellas, for those guys of us who aren't here. Thank you for coming. Very much for coming. It really was wonderful. Hats off to you. Can we, can everybody
Wait. Keep it on.